Book's called Can You Hear Me? So in the book, I talk a lot about communication and some of the issues that I had with communicating with my adult kids, well, my teens turning into adults, with my relationship with my coworkers and my colleagues, and then also with the relationship in my personal love life. All three of those, communication and relationships, crashed and collided at the same time. Hey, that's me. Order my book. Can you hear me? Just in case you didn't know, sometimes I'm called Fran the Freight Broker. Why? What is a freight broker? A freight broker is someone who matches companies that are either trucking companies, fleets, or owner operators with other companies that are importers or exporters needing to move their containers to and from the port. This service is also known as port drayage or rail drayage. So what I do is I match the two together and I get paid a little fee. Hence why I have the little truck back there. Mm-mm. So if your container happens to need a bonded carrier, call me. You already know Customs Border Protection requires that if they're flagged to go to the exam site. If your container is overweight and you need somebody with the triaxle, call me. If your container requires refrigeration, call me. Now, there's one stipulation, y'all. I'm only on the West Coast, California, Oregon, and Washington. And then we also move containers into Nevada and Oregon. I would love to help. Let me know. You can reach me at our website, www.allamericanp, like Paul, L like Larry.com. Or you can also
Hey,
call
Dr. George, can you hear me?
766-1932.
For some reason,
I'm the freight broker
I cannot
with
hear
All
you. I think
American
you're on mute.
Logistics.
Can't unmute guests because they chose to mute themselves.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Waiting through my commercial. Self-sponsored.
Mhm.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fran and Friends podcast on Spotify. I have a wonderful guest with me, Dr. George. He has helped me, especially through his spinal network. And I think that the work that he's doing is something that we all could take a look at, because sometimes we need to borrow the faith guidance of somebody else in order for us to do the work ourselves. So Doc's background, I'll let him share a little bit with all of you guys, and then we'll go right into our topic. So Dr. George, can you share with people a little bit about your background?
Sure. I am a chiropractor that does a technique called network spinal. And network spinal is a technique that's been around for over 40 years. The gentleman who invented it, named Donnie Epstein, is still around, still doing amazing programs. And his company is Epienergetics. And so I first became a chiropractor, started to work with sport teams and was a sport-oriented chiropractor, and started to realize that it was not very fulfilling because all I was doing was working with pain constantly, and there had to be something different. And that's when I found network spinal. And at that time, it was called network spinal analysis, but this new generation of it is now called network spinal. And really, what this is doing is just very much helping your nervous system to get more congruent, as well as your energy. And besides that, it really helps you to get more ease in your body, get more ease in your life, and get more connection, not just to yourself, but also to other people. And it's not an adjustive technique, so we're not really necessarily looking at trying to get rid of pain, although that is one of the side effects of it. It will help with that as well. But really, our focus is really based on what chiropractic was originally founded on, which was help you get more connected to your innate intelligence or your innate wisdom of your body. If you think about this, your body has this wisdom. It knows how to take care of itself. You don't have to think about how to have your heart beat. You don't have to think about your breathing. You don't have to think about your kidneys filtering. If I get a cut, I don't have to think about healing it. There's a wisdom there. And what we're doing with Network is helping that wisdom just get much stronger.
So to be spread throughout our whole body, like Like you said, when we cut ourselves, our body doesn't need us to tell it to heal.
Yeah, there are times where we are in some type of trauma that needs something to intervene, correct? But even with the intervention, what is healing us is not the drugs, it's not the splinting, it's not the surgery, it's actually our body. Our body is what is healing us.
Okay.
And so what we do with this technique is really help to get that innate intelligence, as we call it, just much stronger. If you think about any tension patterns that we have in our nervous system, any tension patterns that we have in our body, if we have something stuck and something that's kind of twisted, the information that's supposed to go in and out of our spine and through all the nerves to all of our end organs and all the muscles, it doesn't get there properly.
At what point do we become disconnected with our body using its own innate wisdom?
Oh, we never completely become disconnected from that, until, of course, at some point when we decide we're not going to be on this earth anymore, and then we peace out and the innate intelligence leaves the body, right?
Until we peace out.
But there is a lot of us that have gotten to a point in our lives where we just don't appreciate this vehicle that we have called body. And our body is our distribution medium for whatever you want to call our energy or our soul or our spirit. And if we're not taking care of this, how can we take care of that? Right?
Yeah.
And we look to so many different healers and different doctors and different people to fix us. I want the quick pill. I want the quick this. I want this thing. I want that thing. I just get rid of my pain, right? But there isn't anything that is quick that's going to fix anything. It might temporarily alleviate the pain, but you still have to deal with why it's there, right?
Yes.
You have to get to the root causes as to why anything is dysfunctional in your life, in your body, in your reality. And with Network Spinal, what we're really doing is just helping you get more connected to you and to your energy state, so you have more energy to live a bigger life, so that you can do more really cool, badass stuff in your work reality and help more people.
I remember when I first came to you, and then you were telling me about fascia and how our energy gets stuck in that area. For people that are just watching for the first time, could you explain to them how our energy gets stuck?
Well, I'd like to think of it this way. We have this entire sheet that wraps our body called fascia, right? And fascia connects skin to muscle and muscle to bones, right? And people will say a lot of times that they have trauma that's stuck in their body. You don't have trauma that's stuck in your body. The trauma that you went through is the trauma that you went through, okay? But you might have like a little piece of that energy of that time that got walled off to protect us, so that if at some point in time we come up against something that's similar, it's almost like an early warning signal of like danger, be aware, right? Mm-hmm. It's what helps to protect us, and it helps to kind of keep us safe and secure. But there's a point in our life where safe and secure ain't going to cut it anymore. We need something more, right? So the fascia will kind of get twisted and contorted, right? And what we're doing with not just Network Spinal, but many other techniques that are out there, is we're helping to kind of unwind that fascia so that the energy and the information that's there can be used more effectively by the body, by the nervous system, by the mind, by the energy, by the spirit, right? So, and we don't want to do it all at one time, because that would be a lot of information and energy that's going through your system all at once, and that would be a little catastrophic.
Okay.
So you want to do it and then do it again and then do it again, kind of like going to the gym,
Just
you
a
don't
process.
just, yeah, it's a process. You don't just want to change your entire reality overnight, right? And in fact, a lot of the trauma, like I like to say this to people, like the trauma that we went through as kids, the trauma that we went through as adults, we either get to become wounded by it or we become wise, And if you notice, there are a lot of people in this world who have gone through some severe things in their reality, and yet they are some of the most wise, connected, amazing human beings.
Totally. I mean,
what's that?
No, I consider you that, Dr. George, when you were sharing with me your story and how
Yeah.
you converted that energy. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah. Well, let's finish this part just for a
Okay.
moment. So, and then you see other people where they might have had, a parent that was not around. There was a divorce in the family, but they were still very loved. But there was something that was going on, and it's almost like it's become a badge of honor for them. They
Mm,
can't let go of that story, right? And so we either become wounded or we become wise. And at some point in time, we can actually choose to change that reality,
mm,
right? But you need more energy to do that. Everything comes down to energy. If we're living a life where we have very low energy and we're just getting by, we don't have the ability to actually see what we want and change our reality. It's too big of a gap, right? So
yeah.
that's where we have to start doing different types of techniques and different types of healing modalities and things to help us to be able to increase our energy and increase our vibration.
Okay.
Everything that we do, every technique that we do, even with medicine, it's all about helping to increase our energy. And I use energy, vibration, and frequency sort of interchangeably. Some people use it differently, but I'll use them kind of the same, right? So if we're really energy poor, we're just trying to survive, right? We're barely scraping by. We're trying to survive. We might have some major health issues. There might be um, uh, financial, huge financial burdens that are happening to us. And we're doing everything we can to kind of downsize our life, right? At that point, we're just trying to conserve some energy so that we actually survive, right?
Mm,
That trying to see how you can help humanity is too big of a jump because right now you're just trying to help yourself, right?
gotcha.
So then when we get to energy neutral, in a neutral space, when our energy is sort of in a low neutral space, we have lots of stories as to why we can't be who we need to be, right? And it's everybody else's fault. It's my mom's fault because she did this to me when I was a kid. It's my dad's fault that I can't live this reality because he did this to me as a child. You know, it's Donald Trump's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's religion's fault. It's these people.
Everybody else's but ours.
It's everybody else's fault except for mine as to why my life sucks,
Gotcha.
right? And that's kind of you're right at that edge of like neutral to low, neutral to energy poor. You're just kind of hanging on and you're not wanting to take any responsibility for anything that's going on in your life, right?
Mm.
Then when we get to a neutral space and life is good, things are fine. It's fine. How are you? Fine. Life is good. Everything's wonderful.
So it's automated.
And nothing changes.
Right.
Nothing changes. There's no change. You're doing everything you can to be safe, secure, and comfortable,
Mm,
right? Comfort is the enemy of extraordinary. Do you think anybody that lives an extraordinary life is comfortable? No, no,
no.
it's not comfortable. Okay. So, in a neutral space, and again, none of these are right or wrong or good or bad. It's just to have a recognition of the energy state of all of it, right? And again, most of what I'm talking about, Donnie Epstein has created, and he's got this amazing book that he just came out with. I think it was in last August, called The Seeker's Code. So if you want more information about what I'm talking about, a lot of that is in that book. Okay, so great book. You can get it on Amazon. I highly recommend it. And when you're reading the book, don't try to comprehend all of it because it's new. So if you don't understand it, just put a little post-it note and come back to it later. Okay, but great book to read, right? So again, back to neutral, it's just everything's fine. And you're living according to culture and rules and everybody and all the shoulds in life. I should be this, I should do that, I should live my life like this, everything should be like this, right? But is that really how you want to live your life?
Mm-hmm.
You're living according to everybody else's rules. Then we get to high neutral, and that's a pretty good place to be. I love high neutral. It's where most of us should be most of the time. It's like, yeah, things are pretty cool. There's a lot of energy here. There's some cool stuff happening. It's not completely here yet. but I can feel it. I can feel that there's stuff coming to me, and I'm so ready. I'm so damn ready to do this. Great place to live your life, right?
Mhm.
When we get to energy rich, that's not something that you want to do all the time, because that's a tremendous amount of energy pumping through you. You need to be able to dial it down and dial it back up, right? Like, I don't need to brush my teeth energy rich. I don't need to take a shower energy rich, right? You need to dial it down and dial it back up, right? But energy rich, when you're there, things are just done. There's no excuses. You want to have something, you want to create something, you've already created it. It's already done. The people are already um, coming together and collaborating with you.
Hmm.
You have so much energy, in fact, that you can uplift other people just by them being around you.
That's
And
what you do when we're in your office.
And energy rich isn't like manic energy. You don't have to be like, yeah, energy rich. That's actually kind of fake a lot of times.
Okay.
You know, energy rich is just, I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how I serve. And I'm here. I'm ready. Let's do this.
So would you say that that is like those people that are in alignment with what their life's work is, with the energy that they have to move forward and live, not in the space of neutrality, I guess in a, oh, what's that next level that you called it?
In energy rich, there's also super rich that goes beyond it.
No, the one that you said not to be.
Oh, high neutral? High
Yeah.
neutral.
So
So here's the thing. Everything is fluid, right?
okay.
So you're not going to be here all the time. You're not going to be here all the time. But you just should start to recognize where you are in this reality. And that's why I love this book that he came out with, because it really helps you realize, hey, wait, here's a circumstance that came into my life. And right now it's a huge problem. But if I look at it through a different lens with more energy, it's actually an opportunity for something else. Same circumstance. It's the same situation. But here, I'll do it over here because my little banner's over there. Here, it's a problem. Here, with more energy, it becomes an opportunity. And here, with even more energy, it's actually a solution, maybe to something completely different.
So would you say that that our mindset has a lot to do with getting to that space?
Of course.
Okay.
And that's where things like the law of attraction comes in, you know.
Okay.
And we've all heard about the law of attraction. I mean, this is nothing new, I think, to anybody. You know, the law of attraction is that which is like unto itself is drawn, right? So it's like a magnet.
Dr. George.
So that's from Abraham Hicks, okay? And Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, is somebody who teaches the law of attraction. And they say that which is like unto itself is drawn. So like attracts like.
Got it.
Okay? And that includes thoughts. So if you have a negative thought, it attracts a negative thought. And attracts a negative thought, which attracts a negative thought, which attracts a negative thought.
Just
right?
a train.
That's right. And it doesn't take very long for that train to start going predominantly in a negative place. You can be positive all day long, have one thought, not really be aware because your energy state's lower. So see how this is starting to relate together. Our energy state's dropped. It's the end of the day. We're having not so great thoughts. So now we go onto Instagram and Facebook and start looking at things or X, and all of a sudden we're in a predominantly negative space and we're seeing things that aren't so positive, right? And now we're going down that direction and we're attracting more of it. Right? Okay. And not to say that those things are all negative, but we can definitely, when we're in a negative space, see negative things on those social media platforms. So my point with it is, a belief is something that we think over and over again, right? So I'll give you some negative beliefs that I just heard today, okay? And these are people that I worked with today, okay? I'm not good enough. I'll never be able to be a leader. Okay? Women cannot be leaders. Okay? Men have to be the powerful ones.
Mm.
Now, those are beliefs that those people had, right? But because that's a belief and this is thought that they have over and over and over again, it is true for them.
Mm.
Okay. Might not be true for you and I, right? And we can hear those things and go, no, 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 that's not true. But it's not true in our reality.
Because they're telling that story to themselves.
Over and over and over again. Even if it's something that's running like a program in the background, right? I use the term source and the field and energy all kind of interchangeably, right? Some people even call it God, okay? But when you're attracting, there is not a vibration for no. So people will say, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be unhealthy. But your actual focus is on poor, unhealthy, overweight.
You said there's no vibration for no?
There is not a vibration for no. What you focus on is what you get. So think about this, okay? If I say to you, I don't want to be poor, what else could I be saying?
I want to be poor.
I want money to be easier. I
Oh,
want my finances to be easier. Right?
okay.
Some people say, I want to be a millionaire, but that's kind of a big jump from I don't want to be poor, right? And you have to actually feel what you're saying. You can't just say the words, otherwise they're just words. They mean nothing then, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to feel what you're saying. So for a moment, feel, I don't want to be poor. How does that feel?
I don't like it.
Don't like it, right?
Yeah, I feel sad.
Yeah. Feel this. I don't want to be unhealthy.
Neutral.
Doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
But your focus is on actually unhealthy, right? And your focus is on poor. So you're drawing more of that into your reality because we live in an inclusion-based universe, which means what you focus on is what you get,
Mm.
right? Now, how does this feel? I just want to feel better,
I like it.
right? I want things to be easier.
I love it.
I want to be able to move my body with more ease,
Feels easy.
right?
Yeah.
Now, we're building a bridge, and we're taking our boat, which was in a predominantly negative place, and we're starting to move it into what's predominantly positive,
Mm.
right? So you're moving the frequency. We are the creators of our own reality. You have to do this. You can't just come to us that are the doctors and what we call the healers
Mm-hmm.
and expect us to do it and not do the work yourself.
Like when you told me those words, Doc, I felt all of those feelings.
Huh?
All of those feelings in my body, and I was like, is this what they meant? Like, you know, when we experienced that trauma, all those feelings hitting us at once, not even realizing it's literally sitting there, like our body is absorbing this energy. And then I felt the movement too when you were speaking the positive words.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you were feeling is it's a concept that Donnie talks about, which is internal and external, right? And it has to do with how energy flows to us and from us. And I'm not really going to go too much into that because he has 2 whole chapters in that book, and it would take us a couple more hours to go through it. But really, what happens is some people are very energized by looking in. Some people are very into their past. Some people get really energized by being in the future and then coming back, right? So when you said that, and I said those things that felt more negative and had less energy to it, your energy went in, correct? And you felt it in areas where you hold that in your body. When I started to change and add more energy to what I was saying and more positivity, you felt it come out, which is really where you personally happen to live more.
Okay. For the people that aren't really familiar with identifying what feelings are, does it make it difficult for them
So
to?
yes and no, and I want to make the feelings really easy. Okay, so um, can whatever our belief is, whether we believe in God or source or energy or the field, can that come down and whisper in your ear and say, "Hey, Fran, those thoughts that you're thinking right now are a little effed up"? No, it doesn't work that way, right? Otherwise, we would have somebody talking to us all day long, right? So there is this thing called our feelings and our emotions, and there are our direct connection to source.
Mm,
Okay. And what we do is we don't want to feel these feelings a lot of times. So we try to stuff them or ignore them, or we try to actually go into like a pseudo awakened state so we don't have to feel them because everything's beautiful and wonderful when it's not.
hmm
But if you just for a moment really paid attention to how you were feeling, you could very easily change things quickly. So I like to break things up and I like to make it easy because I like easy. Okay, so I'm going to make this easy. We have feelings that feel good and we have feelings that don't, right?
That was
So
easy.
if you're feeling something, if you're thinking, touching, tasting, doing, and something doesn't feel right to you, it feels off, you're starting to have fear, you're grumpy, you're angry, or whatever it is, something's not lined up.
Mm,
Okay. If you're happy, if you're joyful, if there's ease, if there's hope, if there's fun, whatever that is that you're paying attention to, maybe do more of that. Right?
yes.
Okay. Abraham Hicks has this really great guide. There's like 20 different emotional states, right? And so she goes through joy, and I think it goes all the way down to complete disconnection, right? And you can kind of see where you are on the scale around different subjects, different beliefs, different ideas, wherever it is. And you can actually kind of move your frequency back up the ladder just by very easily changing your thought.
Mm,
But you have to change the thought, right? And that's
yes.
what we just did. The idea of saying, I don't have enough money. I don't know I'm going to get the money. I'm going to be kicked out of my apartment. I'm going to be on the street. I'm going to live underneath of a bridge. You feel how that spinning starts to happen?
Yes, I do.
We've all been there, right? And I do it myself sometimes when my energy is low.
Oh,
Okay. And what I know is that that's happening is only because my energy's low. So then I do the things that I need to do to pop my energy back up. Sometimes it's even as easy as just taking a nap,
mm.
going outside and walking the dog, being in fresh air and not thinking about what else is going on in the world or my reality.
It reminds me of that Lauryn Hill song. What does she say? There's some lyrics in there. It could all be so simple. It could all be so simple, but we'd rather make it hard.
That's right. Because for some reason, society has said to us that if we live a hard life, there's more value there.
Mm,
And my whole goal in life now, because I've been through hard, I know what that's like, is to teach people that that is not true. In fact, the more that you have ease in your life, and the more that you have flow in your life, and the more that you have connection in your life, the bigger your life is, and the more people that you can actually uplift, and the more people that you can help, and the greater this world is.
that is so crazy, Dr. George, because you already know the taglines that we have with hard work. You got to
Yep.
put the hard work in. You got to go hard or go home and all this
Yep.
other
Yeah,
language.
I remember once, I don't remember who it was that said this, but they were talking about when you have to do something, you have to take the bull by the horns, right?
Mhm.
Think about that. Here's this bull that could gore you to death,
Right.
And you have to take him by the horns and try to wrestle him to the ground. That does not feel fun. That does
No.
not feel like, look, we all have stuff in our life that we have to do. And there are all things in our life that take effort and take energy for us to do, right? And believe me, there are things that are in my life I don't like doing, but I find a way of doing it in such a way that there's more ease. And so instead of saying, I hate doing this, you know,
Yes.
my belief is I either fix it or change it. And if I can't change it, I have to accept it.
Mm.
Right? If there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it, and there's nothing I can do at all, which is pretty rare, because even changing my mind and changing my thoughts will change the reality.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah, I was thinking about taking the bulls by the horn. I was like, why don't I just dig like something up so he can fall inside?
Yeah. Yeah. Or how about you just enjoy life
Mm.
and have more enjoyment and teach people how to do that.
Mm.
Teach people that it doesn't have to be so hard, even though you might have been told that your whole life.
At what point do people find themselves in your space?
Well, look, there's all kinds of different levels of docs in this world and different levels of healers and things like that, right?
Mhm.
And when people are just looking to get out of pain and that's all they want, don't come and see me. Seriously, because I might make the pain worse.
Woo.
Right? Because pain, and I love this. Donnie Epstein said this. He said, pain is any uncomfortable situation or circumstance that takes us out of the magic of our life.
You got to repeat that
The
again.
magic of the moment. I love that.
Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
Pain is any uncomfortable situation or circumstance that takes us out of the magic of the moment and the magic of our lives.
Hmm. Wow.
And that's all pain. It doesn't have to be physical, right? And over the years, with all the people I've worked with, I have worked with people who have been in excruciating pain physically and yet been able to live an extraordinary life. They don't let the pain mitigate how they show up in this world.
This is that perfect example that you were talking about. Either change your mind, like you don't have to stay in that place.
That's right. We do not have to be a victim to our circumstances, you know. And I understand all of this because I had a very colorful childhood. There was a lot of pain as a kid, right? And growing up, my whole desire was to just live a safe and secure life. And I left home at 18 with, I think it was $30 or $50 in my backpack and had nowhere to go. And from that point forward, everything was about me being safe. So then I did that. I got a job, I found a place to live, and I created a safe life. But what I started to realize is everything that I did was mitigated by safety. Even the people that I had as friends, even the partners that I would choose in my life, the careers that I was having were all safe. This career pays me well, but I hate it. Right? This partner is a good person, but we have no chemistry, but this is a good person, so I'm going to choose this person as a partner. Right?
So is it safe to say that the safety that you chose was also limiting?
Yes, of course. Safety and security and comfort limits us because at a certain point, we're going to continue to look for more comfort and more comfort and more comfort and more comfort and more comfort. There's nothing wrong with comfort. I love my apartment. I love the things that I have. I love having nice stuff, right? But that does not mitigate who I am, right? And the comfort was getting so overwhelming that I wasn't making any changes in my life. And if I would make a change, let's say I'd go to a program or I'd go to something, like I remember when I first started going to Donnie's programs, I would go to this amazing program. I was like, oh my God, this is magic. This is amazing. I feel so great. And then I go home and I get into a car accident. Or I go home and something else happens to me. There's bills in the mail. It's like my energy goes up 10
Yes.
steps. So it has to bring me down 20 steps to bring me back to where I was before.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way. I've had that happen too.
That's because we're not claiming a different life. We may think that we are from our mind, but our actual frequency isn't claiming it. We're not claiming it from here, from our soul, from our spirit. And it has to be something that you do over and over again. It's kind of like this. If you and I went to the gym, okay, and you said, hey, doc, I want to go to the gym and I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. If we go today, are you going to lose 10 pounds?
No.
Okay. If you go tomorrow, is that going to happen?
No.
No. It takes consistency. Right?
Yeah.
And you have to set the intention. You have to say, this is what my outcome is. And I will do whatever it takes to make it happen. Not, well, I went today, but I'm kind of tired. The kids were kind of annoying. Work was really like draining me. So I decided not to go today. And before you know it, it's been a week. You still haven't gone. But now it's Friday, so you go back again. But now you're actually disappointed because you didn't do anything the entire week, but you still really want to lose those 10 pounds, but you still haven't done anything in the entire week. So now you got a lot of negative energy around going there. Does this make sense?
Totally makes sense.
Right? Instead of just saying, okay, look, this is what happened, and we're going to start again. Let's go. I have to reframe my energy constantly throughout the day. I have to know when I'm tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and things are easy. And I also know when things are starting to get what I call a little crunchy and it's starting to get a little hard and there's effort. I know my energy state's dropped. Right?
Going back to your point about the negative feelings and the positive feelings and those being like needle points to identify where we are in that space.
That's right. You know, it really is a lot easier than what we make this out to be. This life thing is way easier than what we have been told it should be. It doesn't have to be so hard. We don't have to go through so many trials and tribulations in our reality. We're always going to have pain. Pain is inevitable. We are always, as human beings, going to have pain. Suffering is a choice. And we like to choose to suffer a lot of times.
So reframing is a big part of this thing in our mindset.
That's right. It's everything in our mindset. And our energy state is one of the things that allows us to help to reframe, right? And that's where we, as the network spinal doctors from all around the world, get to help people with that. Because if I can help you attain more energy in your life, it's going to be a lot easier for you to have thoughts that are much more positive. It's going to be a lot easier for you to start to attract people to collaborate with you, to do really cool things, and to have the greater life, right? I had somebody in last week and I was talking to her about just a whole bunch of stuff. And I said, what do you want in your world? What's your goal? What do you want? She goes, oh, no, I don't let myself dream. And I said, why not? And she goes, because I don't want to be let down. And I said, look, I hear you with that. I dream so big that I know that there's no way in hell I'm going to get all of the things I dream about. There's no way. I'm cool with that. There's no way in this lifetime I'm going to be able to do and go to the places and do all the things that I dream about. But I love dreaming about it, and it's really fun, and it feels really good. And you would be surprised at how many times things that I've dreamed about that have been so like kind of left field have just effortlessly come into my reality.
That is so crazy. What is one of the things that's happened for you that blew your mind?
So I remember one year, we were talking, it was like right around the beginning of the year. And you know how people love to set intentions for the year. And
Yes.
one of my friends said, Doc, what do you want this year? And I said, I really want to travel this year. I said, the last few years have been really like a lot of work and staying kind of in LA, and I really want to travel. And he's like, where do you want to go? And I was like, I really want to go to Paris and Italy. And he's like, well, when do you want to do it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't worry about when. I don't worry about how. I don't ever worry about it because it'll just show up, right?
Mm.
So my birthday's in April, and we were supposed to go to Mexico for my birthday. And it was very weird. There was a lot of like things that were like pushing against it, right? Like it just was hard. And the people that I was supposed to go with, all of a sudden they couldn't go. And the hotel had said that they couldn't take our reservation, and like stuff was not happening, right? There was no ease and no flow. So I was at work one day, and one of my patients was there, and she said, what about Paris? And I went, what about Paris? That's really good. I'd love to go to Paris. I wonder how easy that would be for me. And one of my other friends that was there said, oh, Paris is so expensive, blah, 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 the whole thing. I was like, to see. I go on Expedia. I did this Expedia bundle, 7 days in Paris in this amazing hotel that I love that's there with flight, cost me $1,000.
What?
$1,100. $1,100. Easy. Boom, there it was, right?
That's so crazy.
And then later on in the year, I had just opened my new practice, and this is years ago. And one of my friends, right after I had opened the practice, said, hey, we have this seminar that we're doing, and we would really love you to be there and help out. And I said, great, where is it? And they said, Lake Como, Italy.
Wow.
So I got both of them. Really easy. It was really easy because I don't worry about the how. How is not that important. I dream about it, and I imagine myself there.
So just being flexible and not pinpointing how you want to get there, but just putting it out into the ether.
That's right.
So it's funny that you mentioned like how sometimes we hit obstacles or, like you said, difficulties. And being that we're fed this idea, okay, maybe you just got to try harder or try another way or try this way or try that way, when that is probably the universe's message.
No.
Yeah, like, hey, this is not working for you. Somebody said
or it could be that you just don't have enough energy yet to manifest it. Okay, that could be the other thing. So instead of using effort to try to make it happen, why don't you pause and get yourself in a healthier state?
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Spend some more time on you, whether it's taking a nap, go meditate, go for a walk. Anytime that I have somebody that comes up to me and says, hey, doc, I need this person needs this right now, I never, ever, ever, ever will answer right now. Because all of a sudden now I'm taking out of my energy state. I have to redirect myself for a moment, get back to where I need to be so that I get the answer that I want. Otherwise, if my energy is lower, there's going to be effort there.
Okay.
Right? Like, how you might get a text message from somebody and it kind of sets you off, right?
Yes.
Or you get a call, you hear a message and it kind of sets you off. Please don't respond to those right away.
I've learned to ignore them until I'm ready.
Sometimes you have to ignore it. if you're in a crunchy place and you're going to respond to somebody who's also crunchy, it ain't going to go so well for you. Right?
Yeah.
Know what your outcome is that you want before you talk to the person. And if they're coming at you with some negativity, that doesn't mean that you need to match it. It's not going to go well for either of you.
Self-regulation. Well, Doc, I know that you have another appointment, but I want people to know where they can find you.
Yep.
And thank you for dropping these gems for us. If you could leave people with a one quote or a technique, what would that be?
Pause. Honestly, we have gotten to be a society of people that are so fast-paced. And everything is right at our fingertips. Anything that we want, we can go here and go, and there it is.
Totally.
Right? And I would say there's so many times throughout the day that people are living like zombies. They don't even know what they've done throughout the day. And they go to bed and they wake up, and they go to bed and they wake up. Pause. Just stop. Don't do anything for a minute, a few minutes. Sit in some quiet. Take in the appreciation of what you actually have in your reality that is going well. Okay? And stop looking at things that are so negative. Right?
Guilty.
We all do it. We all do it, especially when we're bored and we're tired and we go on to something like X, and the next thing you know, you're like, what the hell did I just watch? Right?
Totally.
But you have to remember that vibration that you just watched is now being absorbed into your reality.
Aye.
Please be more choosy as to the things that you're letting in.
Well, thank you, Dr. George. Can you let them know, I guess, where to find you, your handles, your website?
So my website, you can either go to drchristophergeorge.com, which is long. The other way of doing it is thrivela.life. They go to the same website. So thrivela.life, okay?
Okay.
That's the same for Instagram. ThriveLA Life is the Instagram. For those of you who want to know a little bit more about energy and energetics and actually have something to read, I would highly recommend that you read Donnie Epstein's new book. And again, it's called Seeker's Code. And if you go to Amazon to buy it, please know that there are some workbooks and things that's on there. Those are AI generated. That Donnie did not create those. Those are crap. Don't get those, okay? Get the book that says The Seeker's Code, okay? It's a really great book. It helps you understand energy, energetics, how we live our life, where we focus our attention, and whether what we're focused on is actually bringing us up or down.
Well, Dr. George, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time out to do that, to help educate the folks on how they can empower themselves.
Well, I appreciate you wanting to do this for people, because that also means that you in particular are wanting to be an example for people as to how to live their life. So that means a lot to know that.
Thank you. I receive it. All right, Dr. George, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll connect with you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.